I never thought my life would end up on a velvet stage under crimson lights, wrists bound in silk, wearing nothing but black lace shorts that barely covered anything. The air smelled like expensive cologne, cigar smoke, and desperation. My own included. 23 years old, drowning in student debt, evicted twice in 6 months, and stupid enough to answer a shady private modeling gig ad on a dark web forum. One bad decision led to another, and here I was, lot number 47, exotic pet, obedient, pretty, unbroken. The auctioneer's voice droned like he was selling vintage wine. Bids climbed fast. Numbers blurred. My heart hammered so hard I thought it might crack a rib. Then a single voice cut through the haze, deep, accented, Russian, calm as death. 5 million. Gosh. Now. The room went silent. No counter. No hesitation. Sold. They dragged me off stage, blindfolded, into a black SUV that smelled like leather and gun oil. I didn't fight. What was the point? I'd signed away my freedom for a stupid paycheck that never came. Hours later, maybe 2, maybe 4, the blindfold came off. I blinked against low chandelier light. Marble floors. Gold accents. A penthouse that screamed old money mixed with new blood. And standing in front of me, arms crossed, 6'5" of pure menace in a tailored black suit, silver rings on every finger, ice blue eyes staring down like I was prey. Dmitry fucking Volkov. My high school bully. The same Dmitry who'd shoved me into lockers, called me every slur in the book because I was smaller, quieter, too pretty for a boy. The one who'd cornered me behind the gym once, breath hot on my neck, whispering threats that still woke me up sweating. Then he'd vanished senior year. Rumors said his family moved back to Russia. I'd spent years convincing myself he was gone forever. Now he was the alpha king of the underworld. Pakhan. Boss. Whatever they called the man who owned half the shadows in this city. And he just bought me as a pet. My knees buckled. I hit the floor hard. He didn't move at first. Just watched me tremble. Stand up, kitten, he said, voice low, that thick Russian accent curling around the words like smoke. Or do you want me to carry you? I scrambled up, back hitting the wall. You're supposed to be in Moscow or something. Not here. Not buying broken boys from auctions? He stepped closer. I could smell him, vodka, cedar, danger. Life changes people, Ethan. You should know that. He remembered my name. Of course he did. I swallowed bile. What do you want from me? His lips twitched. Not a smile. Something darker. Obedience. Company. A pretty thing to look at when the nights get long. He reached out, thumb brushing my jaw. I flinched. And maybe, to see if you still cry as prettily as you did back then. My stomach twisted. Memories crashed in, his fist in my hair, his laugh when I begged him to stop. I'd hated him. Still did. But his touch lingered, warm, almost careful. Like he was testing something. I won't hurt you, he said suddenly, dropping his hand. Not unless you beg for it. I stared. Why me? Out of everyone there. Because, he said, eyes locking on mine, when I saw your face on that screen I remembered how you looked at me in high school. Scared. Angry. Beautiful. And I realized I never finished what I started. He turned away, gesturing to a door. Your room. Shower. Clothes on the bed. Dinner in 30 minutes. Don't make me wait. I stood frozen as he walked out. This wasn't escape. This was a cage with better lighting. And the monster holding the key used to sit 3 rows behind me in calculus. Dinner was silent torture. He sat at the head of a long obsidian table, cutting steak like he was dissecting a body. I sat across from him in silk pajamas that felt too soft, too expensive. My wrists still had faint red marks from the restraints. He didn't speak at first. Just watched me push food around. Eat, he ordered. I forced a bite. Tasted nothing. Why the pet thing? I finally asked. Voice small. You could have anyone. He leaned back, swirling vodka in a crystal glass. Because I own things. People. Territories. And now you. His gaze raked over me. You always were mine to torment. Now you're mine to keep. I shivered. I'm not your toy. You are whatever I say you are. But his tone softened just a fraction. For now. After dinner, he led me to a balcony overlooking the glittering city. Wind whipped my hair. He stood behind me, close enough I felt his heat. I was a bastard in school, he said quietly. No apology. Just fact. Angry at the world. My father. At you because you were soft when I couldn't be. I gripped the railing. You made my life hell. I know. Silence stretched. Then his hand settled on my waist, gentle. Possessive. I'm not that boy anymore, he murmured against my ear. But some things don't change. His lips brushed my neck. Not a kiss. A promise. I should have pulled away. I didn't. My heart raced for all the wrong reasons. I woke up gasping, sheets twisted around my legs like restraints. The room was pitch black except for the city glow bleeding through floor-to-ceiling windows. No clock. No phone. Just the faint hum of the penthouse breathing around me. Last night replayed in fragments. Dimitri's thumb on my jaw, his mouth ghosting my neck, the way my body betrayed me by not moving away. I'd stood there like an idiot until he finally stepped back, muttered something in Russian and left me alone. Now morning, or whatever time it was, felt worse. My stomach growled. My head pounded. And the silk pajamas clung to my skin like a reminder that none of this was a dream. A soft knock. The door opened before I could answer. Dimitri filled the frame, already dressed in another black suit, hair damp like he'd just showered. He carried a silver tray, coffee, croissants, sliced fruit. No chains. No weapons. Just breakfast. Eat, he said, setting it on the low table by the window. You look like death. I sat up slowly, pulling the sheet higher even though the pajamas covered everything. I feel like it. He didn't laugh. Just watched me with those pale eyes that used to make me flinch in hallways. Now they made something else twist in my chest. Anger, fear, and something hotter I refused to name. He dragged an armchair over and sat, elbows on knees, staring. We need rules. My laugh came out bitter. Rules? Like don't run, or don't scream when you hurt me? His jaw tightened. I told you I won't hurt you. Then why am I here? I snapped. $5 million for a high school punching bag? You could buy actual models. Actual willing people. He leaned forward. Because I don't want willing. I want you. The words landed like a slap. I stared at him. You hated me, I whispered. I did. No denial. No excuses. And you hated me back. That made it real. Everything else in my life is bought, faked, or scared into place. You never faked anything. Even when you were crying, you looked at me like you wanted to kill me. My throat closed. So this is revenge? No, he stood abruptly, paced to the window, hands in pockets. This is unfinished business. He turned back. Rule 1, you don't leave this floor without me. Ever. The building is locked down. My men are everywhere. Try running and you'll be back here in minutes, probably bruised. I swallowed. Noted. Rule 2, you sleep in this room. Alone. Unless I say otherwise. My pulse jumped. And if you say otherwise? His gaze darkened. Then you come to mine. Heat crawled up my neck. I looked away. Rule 3, you eat when I tell you. You bathe when I tell you. You wear what I give you. You speak when spoken to. I clenched my fists under the sheet. So I'm literally your pet. Yes. He stepped closer. But a spoiled one. No cage. No collar unless you earn it. The last part sounded almost like a tease. I hated how my stomach flipped. Rule 4, he continued, voice dropping. You tell me the truth. Always. Lie to me and I'll know. And I'll make sure you regret it. I met his eyes. And if I tell you I hate you? He crouched in front of me, close enough I could see the faint scar on his left eyebrow, the one I'd given him sophomore year when I finally snapped and threw a textbook at his face. He'd laughed then. He wasn't laughing now. Then say it, he murmured. Say it every day if you want. I can take it. His hand lifted, hesitated, then cupped my cheek. Rough palm. Warm. I didn't pull away this time. I was cruel, he said quietly. Because I was drowning and you were the only thing soft enough to hurt. My father beat the softness out of me. I wanted to do the same to you. Make you hard. Make you hate the world like I did. My eyes burned. It worked. I know. His thumb brushed my lower lip. But I never forgot how you looked when you fought back. That fire. I've spent years surrounded by people who bow. I missed the fight. I jerked my face away. Don't romanticize it. You terrified me. He stood slowly. I know. And I'm not asking forgiveness. I'm asking for time. Time for what? To see if that boy who hated me can look at me without fear. He paused. Or maybe with something else. My heart slammed against my ribs. He straightened. Shower. Dress. We're going out tonight. Black tie. You'll behave. Out? I echoed. You said I can't leave without you. Exactly. He smirked, the first real one since I arrived. You'll be on my arm. My date. My pet. Whatever word makes you angriest. He walked to the door, paused. And Ethan? I looked up. Don't make me chase you tonight. I will enjoy it too much. The door clicked shut. I sat there shaking. Not entirely from fear. The shower was massive, marble rain heads, heated floors. I stood under the spray until my skin pruned, trying to wash away the confusion. His words kept echoing. Unfinished business. Tom. Something else. When I stepped out, clothes waited on the bed. Tailored black tuxedo, crisp white shirt, silk tie the color of blood. No underwear. Of course. I dressed slowly, hating how perfectly it fit. How expensive it felt. How much I looked like I belonged in his world. A knock. One of his men, tall, scarred, silent, escorted me to the elevator. Dmitri waited in the foyer, adjusting cufflinks. When he saw me, something flickered in his eyes. Hunger. Regret. Both. He stepped close, straightened my tie with careful fingers. You clean up dangerous, he muttered. I didn't trust my voice. The car ride was quiet. Black Rolls-Royce. Tinted windows. His thigh pressed against mine on the leather seat. I stared out at the city lights, pulse racing. The venue was a private club. Underground, literally. Velvet ropes. Armed guards. Crystal chandeliers over gambling tables and low couches where men in suits whispered deals that probably ended in blood. Dimitri's hand settled on my lower back as we entered. Possessive. Public. Heads turned. Whispers followed. That's Volkov's new toy. Pretty. Where'd he find him? Looks breakable. Dimitri's grip tightened. Ignore them, he said under his breath. We sat at a private booth. Champagne appeared. He poured for me first. Drink, he ordered softly. I did. The bubbles burned. A man approached, older, Russian, gold teeth. He eyed me like meat. New acquisition, Pakhan? Dimitri's arm slid around my shoulders, pulling me against his side. Mine. The man laughed. Lucky boy. Dimitri's fingers dug into my shoulder. Not painful. Claiming. When the man left, Dmitri leaned in, lips brushing my ear. You're shaking. I don't like being stared at. Get used to it. His voice dropped. You're the most beautiful thing in this room. They all want what I have. I turned my face. Our noses almost touched. And what do you have? His eyes searched mine. A second chance I don't deserve. My breath caught. Then his mouth was on mine. Not gentle. Not tentative. Hungry. Like he'd been starving for years. I froze for half a second. Then my hands fisted in his lapels and I kissed him back. Angry. Desperate. Confused. His tongue swept in, tasting of champagne and danger. One hand cupped my neck, thumb pressing my pulse. The other slid to my waist, pulling me half into his lap. The world narrowed to heat, teeth, the low growl in his throat when I bit his lip. When we broke apart, both breathing hard, his forehead rested against mine. I've wanted to do that since the day you threw that book at me, he rasped. I laughed, shaky, breathless. I should have aimed harder. He smiled. Rare. Maybe. People were watching. I didn't care. For the first time since the auction, I didn't feel like prey. I felt like something dangerous too. The kiss lingered on my lips like a bruise I didn't want to heal. We stayed tangled in the booth for what felt like hours. His hand on my thigh, my fingers still curled in his shirt, until reality crashed back in the form of a low buzz from his phone. Dimitri's expression shifted instantly. Cold. Focused. The man who just kissed me like the world was ending vanished, replaced by the Pakhan everyone feared. He read the message. His jaw locked. Problem? I asked, voice barely above a whisper. He didn't answer right away. Just stood, pulling me up with him. We're leaving. Now. No explanation. No goodbye to the room full of power players. His arm locked around my waist as he steered me through the crowd, fast, purposeful. People parted like water. No one dared speak. Outside, the Rolls was already idling. His driver didn't wait for orders. The second we were inside, tires screeched. What's happening? I pressed, heart hammering again. Dimitri's phone rang. He answered in rapid Russian, tone clipped. I caught only fragments, names, numbers, Krav, which I knew meant blood. When he hung up, his eyes met mine. Darker than before. Someone put a price on my head tonight, he said flatly. And yours. My stomach dropped. Mine? Why me? Because you're mine now. He reached over, buckled my seatbelt with rough efficiency. They think taking you hurts me more than a bullet. I laughed, short, panicked. Do they not know you used to beat me up for fun? His hand paused on the buckle. They don't know anything real about us. The car swerved onto a highway ramp. No city lights anymore, just dark roads and the occasional flash of headlights. Where are we going? Safe house. Outside the city. 2 hours if we don't get stopped. I stared at the passing blur. You have safe houses? Multiple. He glanced at me. You're not the first person I've had to protect. Jealousy flickered, stupid, irrational, before I shoved it down. Who wants you dead? Rival family. The Orlovs. They've been pushing boundaries for months. Tonight was a message. They know I bought someone at the auction. They know it's personal. I swallowed. So I'm bait. No, his voice was steel. You're leverage they'll never get. Silence stretched. The car 8 miles. My mind raced, high school hallways bleeding into this nightmare. The boy who'd once pinned me against a locker now risking everything to keep me breathing. Why protect me? I asked quietly. You could drop me somewhere. Let them take me. Save yourself the trouble. He shot me a look that could have cracked glass. Because I'm not losing you again. Again. The word hung between us. I turned to the window, throat tight. You didn't lose me the first time. You threw me away. I was 18. Scared. Stupid. His knuckles whitened on the wheel. He'd taken over driving at some point, dismissing the driver with a single gesture. My father was dying. The family was fracturing. I had to become something unbreakable. Hurting you was easier than admitting I felt anything. I closed my eyes. You felt something? His silence was answer enough. The safe house was a modern cabin buried in pine forest, glass walls, steel beams, cameras everywhere. Invisible from the road. Inside smelled like cedar and gun oil. Dmitri locked the door behind us, checked every window, then finally exhaled. Clear, he said. For now. I stood in the middle of the open living room, still in the tuxedo, feeling small and out of place. He noticed. Bathrooms down the hall. Change. There are clothes. I didn't move. You're bleeding. He looked down. A thin line of red seeped through his white shirt, left side ribs. Grazed, he muttered. In the club parking lot. One of theirs got too close before we left. My legs moved before my brain caught up. I pushed him toward the couch. Sit. He raised an eyebrow but obeyed, first time I'd ever seen him do that. I peeled back the shirt. Shallow cut but messy. Blood smeared across pale skin, old scars crisscrossing his torso like a map of violence. My hands shook as I found the first aid kit under the sink. You don't have to, he started. Shut up. I cleaned the wound with antiseptic. He hissed but didn't flinch. You're an idiot. You could have died tonight. Wouldn't be the first time someone tried. I taped gauze over it, fingers lingering on his skin longer than necessary. His breathing changed, shallower, rougher. When I looked up, his eyes were on my mouth. Don't, I whispered. Don't what? Don't look at me like that when you're hurt. He caught my wrist gently. Like what? Like you want to devour me. His thumb stroked my pulse. I always want to devour you. Heat flooded me. I tried to pull away. He didn't let go. Ethan. My name in his mouth sounded like a confession. I'm sorry. The words hit harder than any punch he'd ever thrown. I stared. For what? The wound? The auction? High school? All of it. He tugged me closer until I was straddling his lap, careful of the injury. I was a monster because I didn't know how else to survive. But I never stopped seeing you. Even after I left. Every city, every deal, every empty bed, I saw your face. The way you looked at me like I could be better. Tears burned my eyes. You weren't. I know. His free hand cupped my face. But I want to be now. I searched his expression. No smirk. No mask. Just raw need. I leaned in first. The kiss was slower this time. Deeper. His lips moved like he was memorizing me, soft at first, then hungry, tongue tracing mine with reverence. I threaded fingers through his hair, tugging just enough to make him groan low in his throat. His hand slid under my shirt, warm, careful, tracing my spine like I was fragile. I arched into him, needing more contact, more proof this wasn't another cruel game. When we broke apart, foreheads pressed together, he whispered against my lips, "Stay with me. Not because I bought you. Because you choose it." My heart stuttered. I don't know if I can forgive you. I'm not asking for forgiveness. He kissed the corner of my mouth. I'm asking for a chance to earn it. Outside, wind rattled the pines. Somewhere in the dark, men wanted us both dead. But here, in this stolen moment, his arms around me felt like the safest place I'd ever been. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I just kissed him again, longer, slower, letting the answer live in the way I melted against him. For tonight, that was enough. A sharp crack split the silence, glass shattering somewhere upstairs. Dmitri shoved me behind the couch in one fluid motion, gun already in his hand. "Stay down," he growled. Footsteps on the roof. They'd found us. The second gunshot came through the ceiling, close, too close. Wood splintered above us. Dmitri yanked me down harder behind the couch, his body covering mine like a shield. His gun was steady in one hand, the other pressed my head to his chest. "Stay low," he hissed. "Don't move until I say." I could hear his heartbeat, fast but controlled. Mine felt like it was trying to escape my ribs. Another crash, glass raining from an upstairs window. Footsteps. Multiple. Heavy boots on hardwood. Dmitri muttered something vicious in Russian, then shifted so he could see around the edge of the couch. 3. Maybe 4. Orlov's dogs. How did they find us so fast? My voice cracked. Tracker. Probably in the car we ditched. Or someone sold the location. His eyes flicked to me. "Doesn't matter now." He pressed the gun into my hand, cold, heavy. "You know how to use this?" I stared at it like it might bite. "I've seen movies. Point and pull. Don't hesitate." He closed my fingers around the grip. "If they get past me, shoot. Aim for center mass." I wanted to argue. I wanted to scream that I wasn't built for this. But his face, hard lines, blood still seeping through the gauze on his ribs, stopped me. He wasn't asking me to be brave. He was asking me to survive. He moved like liquid shadow. 1 second crouched beside me, the next rolling to the side table, grabbing a second pistol from the drawer. He fired twice, sharp cracks that made my ears ring. A body thudded upstairs. Shouts in Russian. Angry. Surprised. Dmitri was already moving again, up the stairs in a low crouch, silent despite his size. I stayed where I was, gun trembling in both hands, every breath loud in my own ears. More gunfire. A grunt of pain, not his. Then silence that felt worse than the noise. Footsteps descending. Slow. Deliberate. I raised the gun, finger on the trigger, tears blurring my vision. Dmitri appeared at the bottom of the stairs, blood on his cheek that wasn't his, shirt torn open over the old wound, breathing hard. Behind him, 2 bodies sprawled on the landing. A third man staggered down after him, knife in hand. Dmitri didn't hesitate. 1 shot. The man dropped. The cabin went quiet except for the crackle of dying fire in the hearth and my ragged breathing. He crossed the room in 3 strides, knelt in front of me, took the gun gently from my shaking hands. "It's over," he said. "For now." I stared at the blood on his knuckles. At the fresh cut above his eyebrow. At the way his chest rose and felt like he'd run a marathon. "You're hurt again," I whispered. "Minor." He wiped his face with his sleeve. "You okay?" I laughed, hysterical, broken. "No. I'm not okay. None of this is okay." He pulled me up, arms wrapping around me so tight I could barely breathe. I buried my face in his neck, smelling gunpowder, sweat, copper. His hand stroked my hair, once, twice, like he was afraid I'd shatter. "I almost got you killed," I mumbled against his skin. "No," his voice was rough. "You stayed. You held the gun. You trusted me." I pulled back just enough to look at him. "I didn't have a choice." "You always have a choice with me." His thumb brushed a tear from my cheek. "You could have run when I gave you the gun. You didn't." I swallowed. "Because I didn't want to leave you." The admission hung between us, raw, exposed. His eyes darkened. Not with hunger this time. With something deeper. Something that scared him more than the men he just killed. He kissed me then, fierce, desperate, tasting of blood and adrenaline. I kissed him back the same way, hands fisting in his torn shirt, pulling him closer like I could fuse us together and make the world disappear. When we broke apart, both gasping, he rested his forehead against mine. "I can't keep doing this," he said quietly. "Dragging you into my war." "Then stop." My voice shook. "Let me go. Drop me at a bus station. Disappear. Whatever it takes." He laughed, low, bitter. "You think I can do that now?" "I think you have to." He stepped back, ran a hand through his hair. Blood smeared across his temple. "I bought you to control you. To own something that couldn't leave. But the second you kissed me back in that club," he shook his head, "it stopped being about control." My heart twisted. "Then what is it about?" He looked at me, really looked, like he was seeing me for the first time since high school. "It's about the boy I hurt so badly he still flinches when I move too fast. And the man I want to be for him." He took a shaky breath. "I love you, Ethan. I think I always did. I just didn't know what to call it back then." The words hit like a bullet, clean through the chest. I stared at him. Couldn't speak. He kept going, voice cracking on the edges. I'm not asking you to say it back. I'm not even asking you to stay. But if you leave, I need you to know why I'm letting you go. He turned away, walked to the kitchen counter, pulled out a burner phone. I'll call one of my men. Clean extraction. New ID. Money. You'll be gone by morning. They won't find you. I watched his shoulders, broad, tense, carrying too much. My feet moved before my brain caught up. I wrapped my arms around him from behind, cheek pressed to his back. Don't. He froze. Don't send me away. My voice was small. Not yet. He turned slowly in my arms. Searched my face. I'm terrified, I admitted. Of you. Of this life. Of what happens if I stay and you die. But I'm more terrified of walking out that door and spending the rest of my life wondering what we could have been. His hands came up to frame my face, gentle, reverent. Then stay, he whispered. Fight with me. Hate me when I deserve it. Kiss me when I don't. Just stay. I nodded, once small but sure. He kissed me again, this time slow, deep, like he was pouring every unsaid apology into it. I let him. Let myself feel the heat of his mouth, the careful way his tongue traced mine, the tremor in his fingers like he still couldn't believe I was choosing this. When we pulled apart, he rested his forehead against mine. We can't stay here, he said. They'll send more. Where then? Somewhere they won't look. His lips curved, just a hint. My dacha. Northern Russia. Snow. Isolation. Just us. I swallowed. You're taking me to Siberia? Would you rather Chicago in winter? He almost smiled. I huffed a laugh. Fine. Siberia. He kissed my temple. Pack what you can. We leave in 20. As I moved to grab the few things I had, he caught my wrist. Ethan. I looked back. Thank you, he said simply. For not running. I squeezed his hand. Don't make me regret it. His eyes softened. I won't. Outside, snow had started falling, soft, silent, covering the blood on the ground. We were running again. But this time we were running together. The private jet ride north was silent except for the low hum of engines and the occasional crackle of Dimitri's radio checks with his men. We flew through the night, crossing time zones I didn't bother counting. I slept fitfully against his shoulder, his arm around me the whole time, like he was afraid I'd vanish if he let go. When we landed, dawn was just bleeding pink across endless white. The dacha was smaller than I expected. Dark timber, steep roof heavy with fresh snow, smoke curling from the chimney. No guards. No cameras visible. Just forest stretching forever in every direction. Dimitri carried our single bag inside while I stood on the porch, breath fogging, staring at the quiet. It felt like the world had stopped breathing. Welcome to the middle of nowhere, he said, coming back out. He'd changed into a thick black sweater and coat, still impossibly tall, impossibly imposing but softer around the edges here. No suit. No rings except one simple silver band on his thumb. I followed him in. The interior was warm wood, low ceilings, a massive stone fireplace already roaring. One bedroom. One bathroom. One couch by the fire. Minimalist. Intentional. No guest room? I asked, half teasing. He glanced over his shoulder as he hung our coats. Didn't plan on guests. My stomach fluttered. He showed me the kitchen, stocked, simple. I come here alone. Usually. He paused. Not anymore. We didn't speak much the first day. He built the fire higher. I wandered the small space, touching books in Russian I couldn't read, tracing the grain of the wooden table. He watched me the whole time, not predatory, just present. That night we ate stew he'd thrown together from cans and dried meat. Sat on the rug in front of the fire because the couch felt too formal. Our knees touched. He reached out first, slow, giving me time to pull away. I didn't. His fingers brushed my cheek, tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. You're quiet. So are you. I'm thinking. His thumb traced my jaw. About how many times I imagined this. Here. Say. Not hating me. I don't hate you, I said softly. Not anymore. His eyes searched mine. Then what do you feel? I swallowed. Everything. Scared. Angry at the past. Grateful you didn't let me go. Confused because I want to be here even though I know I shouldn't. He leaned in until our foreheads touched. That's enough for now. The kiss started gentle, lips brushing, testing. Then deeper. His hand slid to the back of my neck, holding me like I was precious. I opened for him, tasting smoke and salt in him. Our tongues met, slow, deliberate, drawing out every shiver. I pressed closer, hands on his chest, feeling the steady thud of his heart under the sweater. When we parted, both breathing uneven, he rested his forehead against mine again. "I won't push," he murmured. "Whatever pace you need." I nodded. "Just hold me tonight?" He exhaled like I'd given him the world. We moved to the bedroom. No words. He pulled back the thick comforter. I stripped down to underwear. He did the same. We slid under the covers facing each other. His arm came around my waist, pulling me flush against him. Skin to skin. Warmth. Safety. I buried my face in the crook of his neck. He kissed my hair. "Sleep, Kodianak," he whispered. "I've got you." I did sleep, deep, dreamless, for the first time in years. The next days blurred into a rhythm that felt stolen from someone else's life. Mornings, coffee black and strong, snow crunching under boots as we walked the frozen lake behind the house. He taught me how to split wood badly. I laughed when the axe stuck. He kissed the cold off my lips until I forgot why I was laughing. Afternoons, quiet. Him reading reports on his secure tablet while I curled against his side with a book I found on the shelf, an old English translation of Pushkin. Sometimes he'd set the tablet aside just to watch me read, fingers tracing idle patterns on my arm. Evenings, firelight. Long talks. He told me about his father, brutal, distant, dead at 42 from a rival's bullet. How the family business swallowed him at 18. How he'd hated every soft thing in himself, including the way he'd noticed me back then. I told him about the years after he left. Therapy, failed relationships, the way I'd flinch at tall men with blue eyes. How I'd built walls so high I forgot what it felt like to let someone close. One night, after too much vodka and too much honesty, I set my glass down. "I love you," I said. Simple. No preamble. He froze. Glass halfway to his lips. I kept going before I lost my nerve. I don't know when it happened. Maybe in the club when you kissed me like you were drowning. Maybe when you gave me the gun and trusted me not to shoot you. Maybe years ago and I was too scared to admit it. But I do. I love you, Dmitri. And it terrifies me. He set the glass down carefully. Hands shaking just a little. Then he was across the rug, pulling me into his lap, arms crushing me to his chest. "Say it again," he rasped against my hair. "I love you." He laughed, soft, broken sound, and kissed me like he was trying to pour every unsaid thing into it. Slow. Tongue stroking mine with aching tenderness. His hands roamed my back, under my shirt, memorizing skin. I arched into him, fingers in his hair, tugging just enough to make him groan low and needy. When we finally broke apart, he cupped my face, thumbs brushing my cheekbones. "I've loved you since the day you threw that fucking textbook at my head and didn't run afterward," he said. "I just didn't have the words. Or the courage." I smiled, watery real. "You have them now." He kissed me again, longer, lazier, letting it build until we were both trembling with the intensity of it. No rush. No demand. Just us, finally honest. Later, tangled under the blankets, his heartbeat steady against my ear, he whispered, "We can stay here as long as you want. Or we can go back and fight. Or we can disappear completely. Your choice." I traced the scar on his ribs, the one from the club. "I want to go back." He tensed. "Why?" "Because running isn't living. And I want to live with you. Whatever that looks like." He exhaled slowly. "Then we fight. Together." I lifted my head, kissed the corner of his mouth. Together. Outside, snow fell thicker, blanketing the world in quiet. Inside, for the first time, everything felt possible. The flight back felt shorter than the one north, maybe because we spent most of it tangled together in the private cabin, hands linked, foreheads touching, stealing soft kisses whenever the flight attendant disappeared. Dimitri's thumb traced circles on my wrist the whole way, like he needed constant proof I was still there. We landed under a gray Moscow sky, sleet stinging our faces as we stepped onto the tarmac. A black SUV waited, no fanfare, just two of his most trusted men. They nodded at me now, not like a pet but like someone who belonged. The city swallowed us quickly. Same penthouse. Same marble floors. But everything felt different. The air didn't press down as hard. The shadows didn't feel quite so sharp. Dmitri locked the door behind us and turned to me. "We end this tonight." I nodded. "How?" "Orlov's lieutenant is meeting a contact at the old docks. We intercept. We talk. Or we finish it." His eyes met mine. "You don't have to come." "I'm coming." My voice was steady. "I told you, together." He studied me for a long moment, then pulled me into a fierce hug. "You're braver than I ever was." The docks smelled like diesel, salt, and rust. We arrived in 2 cars, Dmitri and I in the lead, his men flanking. Snow had stopped. The ground was slick with ice. Floodlights cut harsh angles across shipping containers and cranes. We waited in the shadows. Dimitri's hand rested on the small of my back, grounding, possessive in the best way. Headlights appeared. A sleek Mercedes rolled to a stop. 3 men got out. The one in the middle, tall, silver-haired, scar across his cheek, was Orlov's second-in-command, Viktor Kuznetsov. Dmitri stepped into the light first. I stayed half a step behind, heart pounding but chin up. "Volkov," Viktor said, voice oily. "You brought your little trophy. How sweet." Dmitri's smile was ice. "You put a price on what's mine. That was a mistake." Viktor laughed. "You bought him at auction like livestock. Now you play house. Pathetic. The Orlovs don't negotiate with sentimental fools." Dmitri's hand flexed at his side. "Then don't negotiate. Walk away. Or don't." Tension crackled. Viktor's men reached for weapons. Dmitri moved faster, gun out in a blink. His men appeared from the shadows, weapons trained. But I stepped forward before anyone could fire. "Wait." Every eye snapped to me. Viktor raised an eyebrow. "The pet speaks." I ignored the insult. Looked straight at him. "You want Dmitri dead because he's taking territory. Fine. That's business. But coming after me? That's personal. And stupid." Viktor smirked. "You think you matter?" "I matter to him." I glanced at Dmitri, his jaw tight, eyes blazing with something between pride and terror. "And if you kill him, you lose everything anyway. The families respect strength, not pettiness. You kill the Pakhan over jealousy, and half his allies turn on you tomorrow." Silence. Viktor's smirk faltered. I kept going. "Or you can end this now. No more blood. No more safe houses. No more running. You back off. We back off your routes. Clean split." Dimitri's voice was low behind me. "Ethan." I held up a hand. "He's listening." Viktor stared at me, really stared. Then at Dmitri. Then back. "You've changed him," he said finally. "Never thought I'd see the day Volkov let someone speak for him." Dmitri stepped beside me, shoulder to shoulder. "He doesn't speak for me. He speaks with me." Viktor exhaled through his nose. "Fine. Truce. For now. But if you cross our lines again?" "We won't," Dmitri said. "And you won't touch what's mine." Viktor nodded once. "Sure. Deal." His men lowered weapons. So did ours. Viktor turned to leave, paused. Looked at me. "You're wasted on him, pretty boy." I smiled, small, sharp. "Funny. I was thinking the same about you and your boss." Viktor barked a laugh, got in the car. Taillights disappeared into the night. The docks went quiet. Dmitri turned to me slowly. "You just negotiated with the second most dangerous man in this city." I shrugged, adrenaline still buzzing. "I learned from the most dangerous one." He stared at me like I was a miracle. Then he pulled me against him, hard, desperate, and kissed me right there under the floodlights. Claiming. His tongue swept in slow, deliberate, tasting every corner like he was relearning me all over again. One hand cupped my neck, thumb pressing my pulse. The other fisted my coat, holding me like I might disappear. I kissed him back with everything: relief, love, the wild rush of surviving together. When we broke apart, his forehead rested against mine, breath ragged. "You could have died," he whispered. "So could you." I touched his cheek. But we didn't. His men cleared out quietly, giving us space. The night felt bigger now, cleaner. Back at the penthouse, we didn't speak much. Just shed coats, kicked off shoes, moved to the bedroom like gravity pulled us there. We undressed each other slowly, reverent. His fingers traced every inch of skin like he was memorizing it anew. Mine followed the scars on his chest, his ribs, his arms. We fell onto the sheets, bodies aligning, heat building in quiet waves. He kissed me again, long, languid, pouring every unsaid promise into it. Hands roamed, breaths mingled, hearts hammered in sync. The world narrowed to touch, to warmth, to the way he whispered my name like a prayer against my lips. Afterward we lay tangled, sweat cooling, his arms locked around me like he'd never let go. "I love you," he said into my hair. Simple. Certain. "I love you too." I pressed a kiss to his collarbone. Always did, I think. Just took a long way around to admit it. He laughed softly, real, unguarded. Worth the wait. We stayed like that until dawn crept through the curtains. No more auctions. No more running. No more ghosts from high school hallways. Just us, flawed, scarred, finally free. Months later, the city still whispered about the Pakhan who fell for his pet. Some called it weakness. Most called it power. I called it home. And every night, when Dmitri pulled me close, kissed me slow and deep like the first time, I knew we'd earned every second of it. Thank you for watching. Please don't leave without supporting this channel by subscribing, like and share for more stories.